First of all, let's have a look at the Finace app. So you go to Apps, Finance, TVM Solver. So these are the things we're going to have to enter for each question. So I've got them listed here. N is the total number of compounds. I is the annual percentage rate. PV is the present value. PMT is the payment amount. It's 0 for compound interest, but for other things, this is not going to be 0, obviously. FV is the future value. P/Y is the payments per year. And C/Y is compounds per year. Now, we're going to use K for the number of compounds per year. And then, of course, the big N is going to be N times K, where N is the number of years. Because if you do the number of years times by the number of compounds per year, it's going to give you the total number of compounds. Okay, so let's have a look at this compound interest. Now with compound interest, basically what happens is you put an initial investment into the bank. So that's called the present value. And over time, that will increase by compound interest. And at the end of the term of the investment, you will get that money back. And that's called the future value. Now, I'm going to use the normal convention now of basically if something is going into the bank, so from you, you're paying it from your money, that's going to be a negative. But when you get the money back into your pocket, that's a gain for you, so that's going to be a positive. You don't have to do it like this. You can just remember that the present value and the future value are opposite signs. But I'm going to stick to the normal convention just to be consistent. Okay, so let's have a look at question 1. 10,000 is invested in an account which pays 5% interest per year, compounded monthly. How much is the investment worth after 10 years? If this was an exam question, you probably want to use the formula to solve this, because then you've got some working out to show. But let's see how we can do it on a calculator. So the investment is $10,000. So that's going to be the PV, present value. And because I'm paying that money into the bank from my money, I'm going to put that as minus 10,000. Okay, now in these questions, the payments are going to be 0. There's no extra payments going into the bank every month or whatever. So that's always going to be 0 for compound interest. If I go to the top, the interest rate, obviously it tells us, is 5%. Now, the total number of compounds, okay, is going to be for 10 years. And I'm going to do it 12 times a year, compounding. So 10 times 12, 120 in total. And I've made these here, look, you can see 12 for the K, 12 times a year for the compounding. So the only thing we don't know actually is the future value. So we go on to that and we press alpha, solve, we'll solve it. So you can see that the value of the investment is going to be 16,470.09. And again, that's going to be a positive number because that number is coming back to me, and that's going to be a gain for me. So it's going to be positive. Okay, let's have a look at the other two questions, which involve kind of more backwards calculations. So John invests $500. Okay, so that's in his initial investment, so that's going to be minus 500. Interest rate is 4%, but that's quarterly. So these need to be 4. Okay. After n years, his investment is worth 687.47. So that's the future value of his worth that he's going to get back. So that'll be 687.47. Again, if you put this present value as a positive, then you'll have to put the future value as a negative because they're moving in opposite directions. Okay, so it doesn't matter really which way you go round, but I'm just using the convention that if you lose money, you put minus, and if you gain money, you write it as a plus. Okay, the only thing we don't know is how long this is going to take to go from the 500 up to the 687. So I go to the top and press alpha solve. So you can see that's 32 compoundings it's going to take. Now, of course, each compounding is done quarterly, so 4 times per year. So obviously, if you're doing something 4 times a year, total number of times you're doing it is 32 times, then obviously we just need to do 32 divided by 4, which is 8 years. Yeah. So it's going to take 8 years for his investment to go from 500 to 687.47. Okay, question 3. Charles makes an investment of 4,000. So minus 4,000 here. After 12 years, the investment is worth 6,625. So this future value will have to be 6625.67. Again, it's a positive because that's money going to come back to him at the end. It's 12 years and it's compounding half yearly. So it's 12 times twice a year. So 24 compounds in total. Interest rate is what we're trying to find actually. There's no payments, so we've entered everything. Half yearly. So if the compounding is half yearly, these need to be 2 for twice a year. So we just check we've got everything else in. Yep. And the only thing we don't know is the interest rate in this case. So we just go over the interest rate and press alpha solve. So it's going to be an interest rate of 4.25%.